Hey, it's Jen, Bitch in a Hurry, Not So Mystical Tarot. You can find me on Instagram at Bitch in a Hurry, or you can find me at bitchinahurry.com if you're interested in a personal reading or the kind of decks I'm using, anything like that. So this reading is for Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising for the new moon on November 7th in Scorpio. And one of the things that I want to mention, we're looking at the new moon in Scorpio is pertaining to Virgo. One of the things that we want to make sure of is that we don't get stuck in the details. Virgos have a very strong attention to detail, but we don't want to get stuck there because you could end up not really accomplishing much. It's easy for you to kind of take it one little detail and just hyper focus and run with it, and then realize that all the other stuff around you is nothing is being accomplished. So we want to just keep that clear and first in our minds. The other thing is that the Scorpio new moon is a time of transformation and new beginnings. And all new moons are of new beginnings. But this Scorpio moon is different because it's very, very emotionally charged, deep, like really deep emotions. And I know that Virgos don't really love to get into all of that. And that's okay. But this is a time more than any other sign that the Virgos need to really look at transforming themselves, but through forgiving others that you feel may have wronged you, may have hurt you in some way. It's a time to kind of try to let that go. And the other thing we want to talk about is that we're going to set some intentions in this new moon for how we're going to move forward, because Virgos definitely like the details and they need to have specific details. And that is one thing that's going to really help you, because when you set your intentions, you want to be very, very clear about what you want. You don't want to say, well, I hope I do better at work. Well, does that mean you want a raise? Do you want a promotion? Do you want different hours? What does that do better mean? You have to say, I'm looking to get a promotion. I'd like to have this position at work. I'm going to get this position at work. I'm going to make this much money at my job. So you need to be extremely specific. And as a Virgo, I think you will have no problem doing that. One last thing that we're going to talk about with this Scorpio new moon is that we're going to want to keep these intentions to ourselves. And Virgo, I don't think you're going to have a problem with that anyway. But we definitely want to look at keeping these intentions kind of close to us. It's not everyone's business what is going on with you. It's not for like social media. There may be one or two people you could share this with, but it is not for social media. It's not for the whole world to know. It's not everyone's business. Not everyone maybe will be on your side or will agree with how you're handling this. And that's not really your problem, but you don't need it as extra like static in your life to confuse you and send you down the rabbit hole with the details. So just stay clear and focused on your purpose, what you want to accomplish in this new moon. And we will get started with your reading here. This is again for Virgo, Sun, Moon, or Rising for the new moon on November 7th, 2018 in Scorpio. If this does not resonate with you, please feel free, do not shuffle your hair. Please feel free to look at your sun or your moon or your rising sign. And we're going to get started here for Virgos. What do we have going on? We start out here with the Five of Swords. A little bit of a defensive, sort of, I don't want to say angry, but more of an ambivalent, sort of defensive, tit-for-tat kind of energy. Like almost like we're digging up some old things and we're talking about them and then we're letting them go. Then we're digging them back up and talking about them and letting them go. And we're very defensive that this is not our fault. Whatever this issue is, or this thing that you need to let go of or to transform from, it's not your fault. And it's very important that everyone know that. And the thing that you need to know is that no one cares. So I'm not trying to be harsh, but this is a very big time waster. Assigning blame and determining who is at fault for whatever situation doesn't matter because no one cares. It's not going to help you. And that's what I care about, is helping you. So because Virgos are very, very sharp people, very, very highly intelligent, you have here this Queen of Swords. And you want to use that to your advantage. This sharp mind. Nothing gets past the Queen of Swords. So you want to use this very sharp, analytical, objective, non-emotional mind that you can sum up when you need to. Use your objective mind to really think about, what is it? Is this worth my time? Is any of this nonsense worth my time? Is this holding me back? So you want to evaluate each thing as it comes to you. And if you want to participate here, you have this ultimate conflict, right? The Seven of Wands. And it's just back and forth. It's like a tug of war. You can see here, no one is winning. So it's a time waster. And I think this has to do with assigning blame and fault and determining who's really responsible. When in the big picture, as far as you healing, it doesn't matter who's responsible. So you have this conflict here, and it is time to resolve this once and for all. And we see that here with your next card, which is the Justice card. Bring it to justice. This is one of my favorite cards because it reminds us, we get very, especially in this Scorpio new moon, it's very easy. Scorpio deals with the deepest, most secret, sensitive emotions that you have deep, deep, deep inside, stuff that especially Virgos do not feel the need to share with the world. So this is a very almost intrusive feeling to you, but keep your objective mind right here and bring this stuff to justice. Let's say something did happen and it is not your fault. Okay, it's not your fault. Then it's time to say, that was not my fault. I'm letting it go. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to revisit it. I'm not going to keep talking about it. It's done and it's over. I don't have to let it happen again, whatever this is. And I think this is symbolizing here this tug of war that you're having a hard time letting go of who the cause is, because you know and feel in your heart that it is not you. So you want to make sure that somebody knows that it's them. Whatever's going on is not you. And there's a good possibility that it isn't you. But the thing is, that's a limiting belief, and it's holding you back. The next card we have here is the Tower. And this is a card, like, I want you to really pay attention to this. Something is coming that is going to kind of rock the way that you look at all of this stuff. It may change your priorities. That's what I feel when I see this card in this reading, that it's going to change your priorities. It's going to change the way that you see things and what's really important to you. So you can either do this yourself, using your objective mind here. You can actually do this yourself. Or if you don't, it's going to be decided for you. And that's what I see oftentimes with that Tower card, is you can either make the choice to move on yourself, and if you can't make that choice and you continue doing this tug of war, this at odds, this thing, you continue to do this, this change will be made for you, and then you will not have to worry about how you're going to figure it out because the change has already happened. So I would like to see you avoid that at all costs, because this can be a little bit traumatic, like ripping off a Band-Aid. Like, you can either take this the slow and easy way of, like, I'm going to work through this, and this is how. And then maybe write down a list and use your objective mind. And if you don't want to do that, bring these things to justice on your terms, it will be done on the universe's terms. So I would always take my terms if it were me. In Virgo, I think especially you would rather have it on your terms. I know you would. Now, again, we have another great card, the Knight of Swords. This is mental energy, acuity. Like, you are at a point right now in this Scorpio new moon, because it's such a deep feeling, it's such a deep emotional, like delving into like places you don't usually like to go. You're able, though, you have such mental acuity right now and agility that you're going to be able to deal with this stuff. Like, you are going to be able to process this. And I think that's what's held you back for a long time, is not that you were unwilling to process this, but that it was just too much to process, too much to bear. And so we put it back into it's not my fault, well, it's your fault. Well, it's not my fault, well, it's your fault. We put it back here where we're not solving anything, but we're not letting it go. Well, you're going to have to let it go with this. So that's going to be the end of that. But when the chips start to fall and you start to clean things up, you're going to have the mental abilities to be able to do that, and to do it with a rational mind. In Virgo, you do have a rational mind most of the time anyway, unless you are backed into a corner. But I think that's true for a lot of signs. We do have this Nine of Swords, and this is just kind of letting us know that, hey, if you do not deal with this, you're going to spend the rest of your life looking over your shoulder. Remember that? Remember this thing? Like the mudslinging, right? Like, you go forward a little bit, then you stop and look behind you. I mean, have you ever tried to run a race looking backward? It's very difficult. I actually did that once, running a race looking for the person behind me, because I thought they were going to run with me and they were behind me, so I kept turning. And of course, it's very difficult to run a race when you keep turning around. So you're on your own life path. This stuff in the background is not relevant to you anymore. It is time to turn forward and move on. It is time to let this stuff wither away and die behind you and move forward, because waiting for the other shoe to drop for your whole life is a terrible way to live. It's a terrible way to live, waiting and looking and waiting for something bad to happen. And this to me is waiting for something bad to happen, digging up old stuff from the past and waiting for it to happen to you again. When obviously and clearly the Tower moment is going to come and go and eliminate all of this. So you can waste a lot of time looking for it, or you can just eliminate it and move on. And when you do, we have the Ten of Cups, which is just complete and total emotional fulfillment. Like it's like coming full circle, perfect emotional happiness. So you setting, whether we determine whose fault these things are or not, you setting this stuff free and not letting yourself get dragged down the rabbit hole of the little tiny details, but just going, okay, you know what, I'm done, and just moving it out of your life is going to free you up to actually enjoy some really serious emotional well-being. Now, when this Tower moment happens, and it will, where it shakes things up and, things happen that you really weren't ready for, and they maybe not in your time, because Virgo, I do see that you are very methodical about certain things, and you may take a long time to decide something, but when you finally do, your decision is your decision, and that is it. There is no going back. You will have a feeling of maybe a little bit of a loss or of a heartbreak just over the fact that it's so sad, whatever this thing is, or that it's ruined a relationship or something like that. The other thing I see with this card is that I feel like some of the nonsense that you dismiss may come back to you in the form of guilt. This is coming kind of at you. I don't feel like you're going to feel heartbroken. I feel like this is coming at you. That maybe some of the people who you would engage with before that caused you these problems, you stop engaging with them, and then you get this guilt that you are hurting them by taking care of you. And I think that's something that Virgo struggles with, because they always want to do the right thing. So doing the right thing for yourself can at times put people off, because you're no longer placating them, taking care of them. You're no longer doing that, and they will give you some serious guilt for that. And as a Virgo, you will feel that, because you are very deep inside. You may not share it with a lot of people, but you're very deep inside, and this will affect you. So just know that this is coming. Know that it's coming. But here we have the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is the most intuitive card in the entire deck. So deep down, when you set everything else aside, your intuition is right. You know. It may be that you didn't want to see. And you always say you don't have the intuition, but you do. You just oftentimes, many people do this. They have a feeling and they dismiss it, push it aside. And then they have the feeling, they push it aside, and then they find out later that they were right to begin with. This is what I'm talking about. Use your intuition in this situation. You are set up for success. You have this Queen of Swords, which is the objective, sharp mind. You have the Knight of Swords, which is the energy and mental ability to absolutely handle this. You have the Justice card. So you would be bringing this issue to justice once and for all in this new moon. And like I said, if you don't bring it to justice, it's going to be done for you. So you have the opportunity to make a choice here, whether you would like to handle this on your own, or whether you would like to continue to kind of look behind you, wait for the other shoe to drop, because the other shoe will drop. So you have that choice. If it were me, I would rather handle the situation before there's a problem, or before the other shoe drops, but that's just me. So let's see if we can get one more card here. And one thing I really do want to stress with you is this High Priestess here, really use your intuition. Use your intuition. It's so important. That's why you have it. And you are very practical, so you may feel that you don't have it, but you do. And you know you do. You just don't always believe. You're like, I don't know. That's silly. I mean, you're watching this going, I don't know. What does she know? Okay. And we'll round this reading up right here with the Three of Pentacles. So even though this is a very difficult situation for you to handle, you do have some people in your life that really support you and absolutely are on your side. These are the people you can share these intentions with. When I said, like, don't share it with social media, that's great. Don't share it with everybody in the world, but you can see a select couple people that you can really, really count on. Share that intention with them, and they will be there to support you through this. So I look forward to talking to you guys and hearing from you, and I will see you next time.